Hi, everyone. It's great to be here with you at Industry Virtual. Today, I'm going to talk about a few things I've learned as a product leader that I'd wish I'd known sooner. This is Product Leadership IRL. My name is Esteban Contreras, and I'm a Senior Director of Product Management at Hootsuite, the leaders in social media management. I've spent most of my career working at the intersection of technology and marketing in very different environments, from early stage startups and hypergrowth companies to large multinationals and top leading brands. This is a picture of me about a decade ago. At this point, I'd been working in tech for a few years, and there were definitely some things I didn't know at the time. If I could actually go back in time and share some insights and some advice about product leadership with my younger self, it would be a long chat for sure. Today, I'll just focus on three areas though. These are three areas that I think are important to double down on, whether you're a PM, an aspiring PM, or looking to lead product development efforts in any capacity. The first area is mission. The second is ideas, and the third is leadership. Number one, vision matters. When I was younger, I was all about the vision. I wanted to be the visionary guy in the room because it came naturally to me to think that way. But here's the thing, mission matters more. Let's unpack this. A vision is essential, but on its own, it does not manifest itself into a reality. The reason vision is so important is that it's about where you're going. Mission is different. Mission is about getting there. It's about what you will do, whom you'll serve, and how you will do that. It's about why you want to get to the destination in the first place. So vision is future oriented, whereas mission is constant. And as a product leader, it is necessary for you to embody the mission while pointing your team towards the vision at the same time. Let's look at some paraphrased examples from a corporate vision and mission perspective. Netflix has a vision that is all about becoming the very best global entertainment distribution service. Their mission, what they're trying to do for you as a consumer each day, is focused on making you less bored and less lonely. Tesla envisions itself as the most compelling car company of the 21st century. The company's mission is to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. Amazon started as an online bookstore. We all know that, but it always aspired to sell anything and everything online, to become the everything store. Amazon's mission today is about customer obsession and a day one mindset. To be Earth's most customer-centric company is what you will find on their website. I think that the best teams are always missional. They simply can't help it. They're on a mission and their passion is clear in how they show up to work each day and how they tackle problems, opportunities, and everything in between. Being missional can help you define your role in the world. This is important for your product to establish itself as something useful. Whether you are filling a gap, like products like Pinterest, Airbnb, TikTok, and Peloton, or fixing a broken service as products like Uber, Netflix, Zoom, and Facebook. The mission is important to your path towards a promising future state. Being missional can help you adapt, so you can optimize, evolve, or pivot. Perhaps an overzealousness on podcasting would have prevented the audio team from giving life to what we now know as Twitter. Or the gaming company Tiny Speck would still be focused on a vision for gaming instead of creating Slack and transforming how many of us collaborate every day. Without a vision, you will surely drift and end up nowhere. And mission can keep you from giving up or justifying the wrong means. It can prevent you from losing sight of whom you serve and why. Greatness is never overnight success. There are always roller coasters of successes and failures. You need sufficient purpose to chase after what often feels like a distant impossibility. As John Doerr once said and Marty Kagan wrote about in his book Inspired, we need teams of missionaries, not teams of mercenaries. Missionaries are passionate. They feel empowered. They're strategic, collaborative, empathetic, and accountable. Mission is everything we do and think and choose. It's always on. It helps us answer the question, what is the most important thing we should be doing right now? even in a crisis, even in the darkest hour, even in the dreaded trough of sorrows. And being mission driven affects how you think about everything when it comes to building product, from experimentation and prioritization to user science, process, hiring, and GTM. When you're missional, it shows up in your team's one-pagers and briefs. There's a clear focus on the problem to solve, the reasons for wanting to solve it, and the success criteria. Your mission shows up in how your team thinks about and writes stories. It is clear in your roadmaps, the themes you rally around, and how you share these internally and externally. When you're missional, it helps you focus. You know which target markets and personas you're building for, and where you want to expand to or not later on. Being mission-driven helps you make decisions. It enables everyone to understand how decisions are made. It is also evident in team objectives, with specific targets, rather than simply chasing vanity metrics. Same thing with the nature of the work your teams pursue. You want to be doing high impact, high effort work, not potential quick wins that turn out to be higher effort than expected. We all know that nothing comes for free. Or even worse, quick wins that are actually low impact work, regardless of the effort. Being mission driven is reflected in how your users describe the user experience, not just how you think about it internally. Your customers may feel your missional approach when you speak with them, because they see you are trying to understand their needs, you're curious about the specifics of their work and challenges, and you're seeking truth, not justifications or compliments. A clear intent on what they care about is so important for generating trust. When you're missional, your stakeholders and peers also see a legitimate dedication to understanding root causes that aren't always obvious. At Hootsuite, our product teams seek to elevate how organizations and their customers connect on social media. We want to help them build enduring brands, one social connection at a time. We help them build meaningful customer relationships at scale. This is our mission. So we want our product to help them become amazing at all things social, from publishing, monitoring, and engaging, to listening, analyzing, and reporting on social media campaigns, conversations, and content. It's essential for us to be missional about the problem space, the served and underserved needs of our customers and the broader market. Ultimately, mission helps you drive towards impact. You need to think about how you talk and how you understand and how you measure outputs, user experience, customer outcomes, and business results, and how all of these tie together. Some good signs that your team is achieving its mission is having traction, of course. Being deemed a must-have by your users, seeing profitable results, and evidence that your teams are collaborating seamlessly. On the other hand, symptoms of a lack of mission show up in all kinds of problems, from building without validating to vanity metrics, animosity across teams, and a lack of urgency. Regardless of the kind of product you work on, you can always be on a mission to earn, love, serve, and respect your customers. Okay, let's shift gears a little bit. Let's talk about ideas. Ideas are powerful, and they can become many things. I like to think of them as platforms, myths, or monsters. As a product leader, part of your role is to influence, and that's why ideas are very important. Now you may be thinking, well, as PMs, we're not in the ideas business. We're in the problems business. And you may also be thinking that all that matters is execution. As investor Chris Sacca once said, ideas are cheap and execution is everything. And he's right. Coming up with an idea for a product or a feature or even a company can be easy. Execution is hard. Execution is what makes all the difference. But here's the thing. Ideas are tied to our existence as human beings. The ideas we embrace affect us and those around us in a very real way. Ideas can frame our thinking. They can help us reflect. They help us influence and be influenced. They move us, and they have the power to transform us. I think we all want to identify and focus on the right ideas, the best ideas, the most actionable and useful ideas. To be clear, I'm not talking about product ideas, but more generally about ways of thinking that affect your approach and impact you and your culture positively or negatively. As an example, when I first joined Hootsuite, I was leading a product infrastructure portfolio of teams. The teams lacked a clear identity and common purpose at the time. We just deliver for internal customers, I was told. But the team was a lot more than an enabler of other teams. This team had a large mandate, larger than it may have needed to be, but it was also essential to some of the most important, most foundational building blocks for a company. So this team started to think of itself as an enabler of customer value. It's a subtle but powerful difference. It was important to frame our role around who we actually serve, users and paying customers. That should be the focus of attention, even if your team is somewhat removed from them. And that one idea of thinking about enabling customer value started to help the team become more intentional about not just what it did, but how it worked and why in practical and meaningful ways. Today, this team is always prioritizing for customer value. It has clarified its mandate, and it shows sprint after sprint and quarter after quarter. Enabling customer value became a platform for that team. Whereas it was a myth that this team had to focus on enabling so-called internal customers. Sure, there was an element of that, but it was a limiting lens that prevented the team from focusing on the most important problems and opportunities. Luckily, this team quickly embraced the idea of enabling customer value, and it avoided these myths becoming a dangerous monster. Let me share some examples so this can make more sense. As another example, think of NPS, which in isolation is limited. However, you absolutely need to measure the voice of the customer. And NPS can help you get a pulse check on your customer satisfactions and needs. As frequent ongoing feedback about the things that your customers care about, NPS can be very, very useful. Now, you don't want to believe the myth that NPS is the one and only thing to measure, which is how its creators originally positioned it. If you're in a B2B company, you can leverage many other sources, and you should, and you have to, like CSAT, support tickets, sales notes, churn and downgrade feedback, user analytics, and other things. Similarly, you also don't want to embrace monstrous ideas that send you in the complete opposite direction, like not measuring things in the line of NPS because of issues with maybe the scoring or the logistics related to identifying that information. The same goes with how you view customers. You can say the customer is always right, and you can extend that into all kinds of positive directions, like seeing yourself as a contributor, a trusted advisor, a guide, if you will, for that customer, and seeing your product in that way. Or you can believe myths like customers don't know what they need, which may be true at times, but I, for one, don't want to use software that assumes that I don't know what I need. Even worse, you could slowly embrace monsters like the idea that all customers want to do is just turn you into an order taker. These are mindsets that can lead you in completely different paths. Another example is how we think about Agile. Do we think about Agile as a platform, as a myth, or a monster? Do you go to the original Agile manifesto and leverage the mindset contained in that simple yet powerful words that it contains? Or do you get hung up by bulky methodologies and certifications? Maybe even worse, do you make the rituals so important that you protect them above all else? You protect them above the team, you protect them about your company, you protect them above your customer. Those myths and monsters are likely to mislead and disappoint. Same with things like APIs. You could easily pendulum swing between wanting to create an incredible ecosystem to wanting to avoid the complexities of extensibility altogether. And that pendulum swing confuses your teams and confuses you, And later on, you or someone else ends up making up for past mistakes. One last example on this. B2B user expectations are higher than ever. That one statement may invalidate myths and monsters from the past. At Hootsuite, we've been paying a lot of attention to the rapidly changing expectations of all software users. Because, hey, all B2B software users are also using B2C apps. So when someone points to how UX investments in the past did not pan out and tries to generalize it as a fact moving forward, well, that's a myth. Similarly, a monster of an idea is taking those past experiences and believing that UX in B2B or enterprise software, it needs to not be a priority because of annual contracts and the competitive landscape and all kinds of other factors. Let me share a little bit more on this topic. The words you're seeing on the screen right now are a small sample of the kind of feedback that our team at Hootsuite was getting a few months ago. That negative feedback we were getting about our UI and our UX. My favorite one is ugly to use. It's such a good way to put it. It's painful for us to read, of course, but somehow motivating. As I mentioned earlier, user expectations are higher than ever. So we knew we needed to consistently up-level our game. Feedback like this deserves to be acknowledged and acted upon, not ignored or forgotten. I actually will sometimes print insightful and critical feedback like this and put it nearby me so that I can see it as a reminder. While we could have done a few small improvements and considered a major UX effort for a distant future, we decided to be bold this year, and we refreshed both our Hootsuite brand and our product against a few odds, and we pressed on during the COVID pandemic that we've all been going through this year. In record time, our entire product teams came together, we rallied around this, and we gave Hootsuite a cleaner navigation, a fresh new look and feel, and a simplified user experience. And the feedback that we're getting now reads like a 180. Users are saying that they appreciate it, that they like it. Some even go as far as saying that they love it. And that's incredibly encouraging to hear. It's definitely much better than ugly to use. By the way, this is a Steve Ballmer animated GIF that I keep sending to our designers for the great work they've been doing in elevating our product this year. Whoever made this GIF, wherever you are, we thank you. Anyways, as a product leader, you want to be very intentional about the kinds of ideas you support, encourage, and share. While we often assume we have strong opinions loosely held, right? Everybody says that, we like to say it. Sometimes we actually have weak opinions strongly held. Ideas, whether they are true or untrue, strong or weak, platforms, myths, or monsters, they can turn into feelings that establish mental models that ultimately can become beliefs. Number three. Everything is finite, and people always leave. Let's talk a little bit about leadership. As a product leader, you need to guide product strategy, ensure you're shipping value, empower your teams, ease go-to-market strategies, and facilitate customer success. Don't forget, you have to be customer obsessed, you have to be data informed, definitely outcomes oriented, plus you need to know who knows what, who is who, and be credible. And if we're honest, you have to be sufficiently likable. All while ensuring that the product doesn't go off a cliff and the team doesn't quit for greener pastures. It's a lot, so no pressure. But here's the good news. You don't need to know everything. That's not realistic. And you won't be a good leader if you try to know or do everything. At all times, you need to be managing up and down and sideways and inwards. As a product leader, what you are there to do is to cultivate. You cultivate your team, you cultivate your product, you cultivate your customers. As a leader of a team with direct reports, and perhaps direct reports with direct reports, you are not there to consume their talent. You are not there to simply leverage other people. You are there to produce talent, to recruit and grow talent. You have to be generous. Have to focus less on yourself and more on growing others, helping them, hearing them, supporting them, challenging them, believing in them, appreciating them, expecting the very best from them, and giving them permission to disagree. And be aware of the fact that how you treat others is a reflection of who you really are and will become a mental model for those you lead and influence. You lead by example, literally. And it can be really hard. Great people will leave. Good people will say brutally honest things you don't want to hear, sometimes for no good reason, but often spot on truths. It's tough, but you may also need to fire someone or let go of some people. And you will fail at many and all of these things, and you will feel inadequate. So you need to learn and try to do the right things. You need to earn respect, like being honest and kind and humble, self-critical, decisive, committed, helpful, action-oriented, selfless, grateful, always reflecting, and again, always learning. Even asking for help, because guess what? Everyone needs help. Not making excuses for you or your team or anyone. And always seeking and bringing in great people who may be different than you, complementary to the team, enhancing, not just replicating the culture with each and every one addition. You also have to partner with other teams, with other cross-functional teams, not just coexist or collaborate with them, send them an email or a Slack message from time to time, but become a trusted partner to them, seeing them as your trusted partners. As a product leader, you need to also be very comfortable with budgets. You need to live within your means and work within your means. You can't do all the things, but hey, you can do a few budgets. You need to appreciate process and the people who are good at establishing and especially scaling processes, because process is your friend. But don't forget that culture eats process for breakfast. A good process in a bad culture will only go so far. You want to embody a product culture that people can be proud of, a culture of impact, outcomes, honesty, passion, urgency, collaboration, facilitation, courage, anticipation, understanding, innovation, vulnerability, learning, and customer success. And also a lot of patience, so you can get through long lists like this one. A culture like this is more likely to make a positive impact for your teams, your company, and the people who use your product. Because you ship your org and you also ship your culture. Product leadership could be defined as growing product leaders, crafting a leading product. We've reached the end, so I'll summarize. To summarize product leadership IRL, be on a mission to create lasting impact for your customers and your company. Remember that ideas are powerful platforms. Beware the myths and monsters. Leadership is ultimately about growing others and establishing your product as a leading product. And don't forget to have fun as a product leader and your path to becoming a product leader. I feel very grateful to do what I do each day. My life has taken me across 3 different countries, and my career has been a series of doors that have opened when I didn't deserve them, thanks to good leaders that were an example to me, bad experiences I learned from, and hey, I'm still learning a lot. It can be challenging, it can be exciting, it's definitely rewarding. I really enjoy the people I work with and the customers we serve as we try to help them level up their social media programs. If you're not having a lot of fun at work today, well, guess what? Today is a good day to try and to aim for that. That's it. Thank you very much for your time. Feel free to reach out to me on Twitter or other social media. I hope you enjoy the rest of Industry Virtual, and I hope to see you at the talk shop later on.